What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Life Church New York, our weekly update. I'm so excited to have you back. We just launched this last week, and I'm so excited to have an opportunity to connect you to community stakeholders and organizations that are doing great work here in Westchester County, particularly during this pandemic. A lot of us are hearing various things in the news, but we don't hear a lot of what's going on close to us. So I wanted to make sure that we connected to some people that are doing work to help relieve the pressure in the lives of lots of different people, varying from economic backgrounds, racial backgrounds, all across this great county that we call our home. And today I'm very excited to bring another friend. I want to introduce him here. His name is Rich Nightingale. I love the name Rich Nightingale. I'm going to tell you a secret. When I was a kid, I wish my name wasn't Wayne Francis. I used to wish that it was Chris Nightingale. So he does have a great last name. He and I met many years ago when I first started our ministry back here with our family and a great team of people. And when we launched our church, I started reaching out to community leaders, and we were both connected somehow through the White Plains Youth Bureau or some of the work that we did on Ferris Avenue, that corridor in White Plains that was very underserved during the times that we were doing our Breakfast for Ferris campaign, our initiative there, and we've just struck up a great friendship over the years. So I want you to join me in welcoming my friend Rich Nightingale, who leads at WestHab in Yonkers. I'm going to let him do a little bit more of the talking about how he leads his organization, what role he plays there. But I'm so glad to have you on, Rich. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much. Pastor Wayne, we're here, man. Thank you.
Let's go.
We do go way back, so it's really cool. Stay connected all these years, and thanks for plugging me into the whole church community.
Yeah, I really admire you because you really do have a passion for the work that you're committed to. This is not just a job or a paycheck. You really do have a passionate voice, and you're well respected, well connected in our county, and your tenure just speaks for itself. But why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us what you do and your organization and the impact that you're having here in Westchester County?
Yeah, absolutely. So WestHab has been around almost 40 years, and our tagline is building communities, changing lives. And for us, the building communities is the bricks and mortar of improving communities through primarily high quality, affordable housing. Anyone that lives in this county knows how cost burdened we are. It is expensive. And from lower income people all the way up to working professionals, this is like a pretty crushing place to live economically. So the building communities is providing housing opportunities that are sorely needed. And then obviously people need more than a roof over their head, and changing lives represents all of those services that come around people and families.
Right.
And that includes job training, that includes after school programs for kids, that includes pathways to self-sufficiency and feeding programs, and the list goes on and on. So I know that, your members know, but, people from the outside think of Westchester County and they think of it as one way, as this very affluent place without needs. But we live in a super diverse county, and, we have neighbors who have real critical life needs, and those needs exist in good times and bad. And, obviously right now we'll talk a little bit about some of the bad or some of the more challenging times.
Yeah.
Frankly, the people that we serve, the people that are homeless right here in our backyard, the people that are disabled and, have fallen on tough times or are out of work. These are people that need our support all the time. So, super proud to work at WestHab, super privileged to lead this charge. You mentioned, kind of a little longevity in this. I mean, I was a college intern at WestHab 20 years ago.
Wow.
And I don't like writing resumes, apparently, and they haven't fired me yet. So here we are.
To your point, Rich, there's a lot of people that live in Westchester County that have no idea that there's actually homelessness here, or that there are people that are down on their times. Now, we have in our minds some places that might have pockets of pressure and so on, but I love that you really mentioned that there are people that are definitely displaced on a regular basis. And now with the pandemic, it's actually exaggerated that. Can you tell us a little bit about what you see in your work day to day?
Sure. I mean, one thing to mention is the fact that we live in such a affluent, high-cost county is actually correlated to the fact that a lot of people can't make it here. It's, So even though that sounds like counterintuitive, it's extremely expensive to live here. I'm not going to get into property taxes or anything, funny today. But so we still need busboys in our restaurants, and we still need, a workforce to be here. And I
Right.
don't think a lot of people consider what it means to make minimum wage in our community. And if there are no housing options that fit that income level, what are we saying to those individuals? We're saying, we want you to come here and clean homes. We want you to come here and bus tables. We want you to come here and do a whole range of activities, but you can't afford to live here.
Mm.
And, if you work, and I don't think that many people think about this, if you work two full-time jobs and you commute on public transportation to them, that is not a life. There is no having dinner with your family in that scenario.
Mm.
I don't think it's easy for many of us, myself included, to really fathom that day to day. So, yeah, I mean, we serve a whole range of individuals. Let me adjust here. And they come to us in a number of different ways. So we operate family homeless shelters in Westchester County. These are families that have been evicted or
Right.
have exhausted other resources. They end up with us, and we help on a pathway to permanent housing. But really, what's great about West Hab is we engage the whole family. We
Mm.
make sure that the children are remaining on track in school. We look at the employment needs of the parents in the household, mental health needs, so on and so forth. We really try
Wow.
to take like a pretty comprehensive look. Then when we build housing for a number of distinct populations. So we have housing specifically for youth who have aged out of foster care.
Okay.
We have housing specifically for formerly homeless veterans. We have housing for folks that are disabled. And each housing program kind of works a different way. Some are the services, the social services that come around the housing is very integrated into daily life. And
Yep.
then some are a little bit more of a landlord tenant relationship with services being offered, and you can participate, choose your own adventure a little bit. So there's a lot of different ways for folks to kind of come into West Hab. And then what's really beautiful about West Hab is you can go from homeless shelter to transitional housing to permanent housing, kind of all within the West Hab continuum. And in that permanent housing, you may very well send your child to a West Hab after school program.
Yeah.
You might get some job training. I mean, this is really about trying to come all around families and give them everything that they need to achieve their goals. I mean, ultimately, we are privileged to be in their lives. This is their journey. And our folks want to be self-sufficient. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone does. They want to be healthy. They want, their kids to be proud of them. So we're not writing the narrative, but we're given the tools, we're given the support,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a pretty amazing staff. Sometimes we're given a hug. I mean, these are human beings that deserve our support.
You know, part of my leadership, what I like to cast vision to my team about is what would it look like if our church wasn't here? Would anything change dramatically? Would people just only have a Sunday service to go to? Would they, miss our music? Hopefully, they'd miss me a little bit. But what impact would happen if our church was absent from the community? I'd like to ask you, if West Hab wasn't working the way it is right now, if it was not in our county, what do you think would happen?
Well, first of all, I do jump on your Facebook, so I would miss a lot of things, a lot of humor, and I would miss the music for sure. And certainly at a time like this, I mean, always, but at a time like this, I think people need faith more than ever. So there'd be a lot there. I think that West Hab is a core part of the safety net. And at a time like COVID-19, we've been able to shine a light on our healthcare professionals, and they deserve that light. We've been able to shine a light on grocery store workers and delivery people because we see them. But there's a whole nother sea of people that are working in homeless shelters, foster care settings, senior settings that are absolutely a core, essential part of our community. And we're somewhat invisible in good times. And unfortunately, we're even a little bit invisible in times like these because if we do our job well, sometimes that means you don't hear from us
Right.
because we're just taking care of our people and they're doing what they need to do and they're getting on their path. So, the reality is, as we said before, this can be a tough place to live. This can be a tough place to reach your goals without the West Habs of the world and some really valued partners and colleagues that we have. The have-nots in Westchester would be even more, even at a deeper place of inequity. Um, the vast majority of the populations we serve are communities of color. We
Mm,
serve many single-parent, female-headed households.
yeah.
We serve immigrants. We serve Spanish-speaking, primarily Spanish-speaking households. Um, so many of the people we serve would not have a chance, would not have doors of opportunity,
Mm,
would be either farther behind. And I will say it does affect all of us. One of the Corona lines is, we're all in this together.
yeah.
And we've heard that from a lot of celebrities while they're in their mansion in Malibu. Um, I do think we're all in this together. I think that has a lot of truth, but we're not all in this equally, and we're
Yeah.
not all in this the same. And, the communities that we serve, already suffered from, lack of availability of healthy food options, lack
Yeah.
of medical, preventative medicine, and all of those things. So populations that already had, risk factors.
Yep.
Well, coronavirus is like the perfect storm for them. So, yes, this is affecting us all, but for the population where this
It's
just means, way
disproportionate.
too much, Netflix, for some of our folks, this is life and death. And if you live in a very dense homeless shelter or in a large multifamily rental building and you don't know your neighbors and
Yeah.
you're packed in there pretty tight, social distancing is it's a goal, but it's not the easiest thing to do in the
Yeah.
world.
So what can we do? Like, I know that there's a lot of people that are watching from our church and people that don't attend our church. There's going to be people that share this on Facebook and bring some attention. Hopefully we can bring some light to what you do. What do we do? Because so many times we feel so paralyzed, right? We know that we want to help other people. Is it funding? Is it serving on site? What do we do?
Sure. First of all, things like this are awesome. I mean, you're giving, West Hab a chance to be heard, for so many people in the community to connect. And, while we could go on and on about the challenges, there's wonderful efforts going on. There's a lot of hope going on. There's a lot of people stepping up during this too. So I just wanted to start there. Obviously, we need funding to do the things we do. So supporting West Hab is a wonderful thing. But not everyone, has the ability to support financially. These are tough times for a lot of people, and we've also seen, toiletry drives and food drives and other ways to plug in. I'd encourage anyone to go to wasthab.org, and you'll see a whole menu of options of kind of ways you can plug in with us.
Give
Those
us that
emails find their
website
way.
one more time. Give it to us
Yeah,
one more
so
time.
just www.westhab.org, and right in the header, you'll see some options. Certainly, a direct donate tab, and trust me, 100% of that funding is going to our front lines. West Hab is open every day. We never close. Our staff are, as I said before, kind of shoulder to shoulder with healthcare workers as an essential part of what's going on right now. And just sourcing, the masks and the gloves and the disinfectant is like a daily task. So www.westhub.org. There's obviously a way to donate, but there's also a way to send us a note and say, hey, what are your needs? As I said before, like toiletries are a big thing. People come in for us.
So
In
people
good
can
times.
drop off toiletries, or you could have, like, if our church wanted to do just a big toiletry drive and we drop some things down, we can make a difference
Yeah,
that way as
yeah.
well.
I think like a coordinated drive, and obviously we can pick up and drop off. I will say, typically we love volunteers, and I'd encourage everyone to come out and roll up their sleeves. But at a time where the guidance is to stay at home, it is hard to plug in that way. So I think
Yeah.
for now, there are different ways to support us. Whether through treasure or funding
Yeah.
or whatever. And then down the road, I think there's a lot more hands-on way to kind of join us in person. And I think that's when sometimes the work comes to life. But obviously, right now we're trying to keep everybody safe, do this from a distance, to the degree possible. But our doors will be wide open when this is over as well,
Yep.
because I think there probably are a lot of people watching that would love to come and mentor a young person in a shelter, or would love to come and have some of those hands-on touches. But let me just say too, and I don't want to go on too long, but
Yes.
everything you see out there, and we're all struggling with ourselves, with our own kids and our own families. distance learning, and things like that. That stuff is happening in the family shelters in Westchester. Our staff have done an incredible job transforming the way we serve people. I said before, how hard the social distancing is, but it is happening to the degree possible.
Yeah.
And any support enables that to happen. But we're not letting our kids fall behind in this. We don't need any disparities to grow even deeper.
Mm.
So it's not easy. And in this way, certainly, we are all in this together. I'm sorry to my friends in Malibu that I attacked earlier. There's a lot of good work going on, keeping people safe. And that's, not only at West Tab, but at so many of the great organizations that I know, Pastor Wayne, that you're connected to, and that, you'll be able to shine a light on for the church community.
So what's your hope as we're in the middle of this pandemic? We're watching the numbers, and obviously we're staying close to, what the CDC and Governor Cuomo and with the whole tri-state region. What's your hope right now as you do this day-to-day work on how we can start seeing systemic change that lives long after this pandemic? Is there anything that you're specifically targeting on right now that would be a needle mover in your organization?
Well, yeah, a couple parts there. I won't go kind of too deep. If you hear a crying baby, that's definitely
You just
on
had
my
a
end,
baby.
so.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we welcomed a baby during all of this, so there's enough hope right there for us. I mean, our hearts are full. But sorry to go on a tangent there, but you might be able to hear him a little bit.
That's all right.
There's a couple things, and as I said, I don't want to go too deep, but in terms of like what I would like to see is I'd like to see us take a hard look at those kind of risk factors that existed in the first place, to examine why are the people we serve more vulnerable to begin with. What needs to be corrected in the long run, so lower income students don't suffer more than their more affluent peers, or so some communities don't live in food deserts with only fast food options, and you name it. So like right now, I watch our friend Andrew Cuomo every day. We're washing hands. We're following the protocol. I mean, we're like in it right now. So when you're in it, you have to stay safe. You have to take care. You have to rely on your frontline workers. You have to kind of lean into those supports that exist.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of learning here, and I think our community can in fact be stronger in the long run for going through this. But we can't just go back to the old way and as you're saying, like, we're shining a light on what we do, but even in good times, there are homeless in Westchester County.
Yep.
There are folks that can't, that don't know where their next meal is coming from, right here. You don't have to look, too far to see those needs. And I think we can all do better as a community to take care of one another.
Yeah. As we come to a close, is there any great stories that you can share really quickly about maybe something that was transformational in recent times? We all need a little good news about now. Is there anything that just kind of stands out in your work that you can maybe inspire our audience with?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are a whole bunch. Our staff were doing this really cool kind of video montage right off their cell phone. And what kept coming through in their message wasn't about the gloves and the masks. That's almost like a given right now that we're all following the protocol. Our clients are continuing to move to permanent housing from homeless shelters even during this. Our folks are like continuing to meet their goals. As I said before, we have students that are like totally thriving in distance learning. Our staff, who are not like trained teachers, have become teachers in this moment, and it's been totally inspiring to watch. So it actually is every day. I mean, obviously I'm on these Zoom calls with my team kind of every minute.
Yep.
But even during this, not only are we answering the call on COVID-19, our clients were already progressing towards their goals. They don't want that progress to stop. We don't want to see people decompensate and take a step back, and it's not happening. I mean, I will say, so our staff have done an incredible job. That's who I get to support every day. But they keep telling us how resilient our clients are, who turn to them and say, no, we're going to be okay here. We get it. We're going to wear the gloves or so people are kind of, kind of scared of what they don't know sometimes.
Right.
And, it's a little bit scary to have homeless people out in the world that maybe don't have an ability to distance and that kind of thing, because, they can get other people infected and that kind of thing. And you'd be surprised how much they are leaning into the protocol and want to do the right thing.
Mm,
And I'll tell you, you probably know this in some ways, like you've just seen this kind of power. People with very little are often the most generous of all.
true.
So, something comes into one of our shelters, and you should see the way that yeah, hey, let's split this in half so we can both have.
Oh,
So, the
man.
way that our clients have been, grateful to our team, grateful to donations that have come in, grateful to the support of the larger community. Hey, our folks are on track, man. We're building communities and changing lives. This work doesn't stop. And we're really proud to continue to deliver, continue to be part of the safety net.
Well, thank you. Look, the Life Church New York is looking forward to partnering with you financially and, of course, helping along the way as we open up slowly in the future. And I love the idea of even being able to partner with you on some toiletries and stuff. We'll talk offline, but I want to make sure that this is not
Definitely.
just about raising visibility for your organization. This is also about raising capacity of people to be generous, to get involved, that our distance doesn't mean that we disconnect, that we still have a responsibility to bear one another up in this time. And I just want to celebrate you for the great work that you do. We've been friends for years now. We've seen each other at a lot of different events, and you have such a great reputation. So I do want to stand by and say, if you do commit financially, if you get on at www.westhab.org, I can guarantee you that Rich and his organization have run with great integrity and have wonderful respect and have enjoyed respect in our community as an organization, that you know that your dollars are being directed toward making a difference in the lives of others. So thank you again, Rich. I know you've got a baby that you probably have to attend to here in a little while, and other employees and stuff that you got to do. So thank you so much. We want to make sure that we raise the visibility of this great work, and we're praying for you guys. We're making sure that our church is thinking about you consistently. And again, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, keep up the faith and keep up the good music. Thank you so much for shining the light.
Thank you, brother. We'll talk soon. Life Church New York, this is one of the reasons why it is great to be a part of a church that is making a difference in the lives of others, not only on Sundays, because the church is not closed. We are just operating a little bit differently. So thank you again. Of course, we'll be back next week with another weekly update. I want to thank you so much for being such a kind audience. God bless you. Let's keep moving life forward.